Hello, good afternoon. My partner, Ana Karen Ruiz Rodriguez, and his server, Edgar Francisco Herrera Ortiz, we are today presentation about future pandemics. What is a pandemic? Well, first going to describe the difference between epidemic and pandemic. An epidemic is a disease that affects a large number of people within a community, region, or population. For example, the cholera, Ebola, dengue, to mention a few. On the other hand, a pandemic is an epidemic that spread over multiple countries or continents. For example, the most recent case is COVID-19, a pandemic that is currently. Next. A pandemic is a global disaster outbreak. It differs from the epidemic because it affects a wide geographical area, often worldwide, infects a greater number of people, causes much higher numbers of deaths, and often creates social disruption, economic loss, and general hardship. Next. Cause. An outbreak occurs when the host becomes more susceptible to being attacked by a contaminating. An example is where people quality life is deteriorating, which weakens their immune system and makes the person prone to the infection disease. The danger comes when these viruses find a way to spread to humans. They are muted to become more infectious to humans, or we come very close. This entrapment is one of several reasons why we have seen pandemics increase in the past 15 to 20 years. Sorry.
Effects and consequences of a future pandemics. Pandemics can cause significant widespread increases in morbidity and mortality. It's like many people have decided to change themselves. It's like, oh, I have to get my glow up or something like that. But it's really that's fake. In this pandemic, everybody have changed physical and mentally, but it's 100% that not for better. Pandemics can cause economic damage. Mexico is a good example. Mexico will never recover after this pandemic. I think no one country will it. Thousands and thousands of lives and money were lost. Individual behavioral changes are a primary cause of negative shocks to economic growth during pandemics. It's the same. At least 5% of the society suffers depression and anxiety. So it's obviously that affects their job. And finally, pandemics can increase political, social stress and tension. That's true. Again, when United States found out that Middle East brought the COVID-19, it was like everybody attacks them. No one is not, but in the past it was Third World War is coming. Okay, which is the connection between deforestation, wildlife trade, and the rise of infectious diseases? Okay. First, locations near the edges of tropical forests where more than 25% of the original forest has been lasted to a hotbeds. For animal to human virus transmissions. And you think that makes sense. Living in poor locations where the wildlife is next to you, it's a big red flag. Nobody knows how works the system, like virus, bacteria in the animal. So I think I understand that not at all can live in better conditions. So it is very sad, but um, only is there they care for themselves with their resources. And the other is over the last 100 years, two viruses a year spill over from animals to human. So if if all know that information, we will prevent the epidemics and pandemic. I think the best option to prevent this problem that actually affect all, it's we have to stop to studying animals or fake animals. Really, I don't know. Um, the big animals, they can escape. So we know how how that affect us, and yeah, nobody knows how to stop that. But I hope in the humanity and this idea will achieve one day in the future.
The other, wildlife markets and legal and illegal trade of wildlife for pets, meat or medicine increase transmission. That's obviously the first reason. And Latin America is not common to eat exotic animals, but in many parts of the world it is. A good example is Middle East. Those people eat everything that moves. It's like a sea rat that then it is cooking it, it's so great. But you know that is culture, but as well is the first reason for China have money health problems all the year. Finally, investing 22 to 31 billion dollars a year to monitor and police the wildlife trade and cure tropical deforestation can help prevent future pandemics. I would say that is the dream that the government cared for wildlife trade, but wildlife trade should not even exist.
How tech could help the world prepare for the next pandemic? Early detection. For me, that sounds like a good option to prevent many deaths and cases. One example of that is Blue Dot, I think so, was able to detect the outbreak days before the initial reports of COVID-19. So, okay. Rapid diagnosis. Well, now exists a new class of diagnostic relies instead on DNA sequencing, which allows multiple pathogens to be detected simultaneously and does not require a new test for each new virus. It's amazing. It doesn't matter if the virus changes. It's safe to know how to attack it. Next generation of telemedicine. In many outbreaks, healthcare providers are hit the hardest. Some okay, yes, are hit the hardest. Some countries have turned to telemedicine. It's very safe for two parts. I mean, doctor and patient. Patients feels patients feel generally cared for even at a distance. So it's great. But in Mexico doesn't exist telemedicine. Preparing for pandemics. I think nobody knows how to be preparing for the next pandemic. Pandemics and large-scale outbreaks can claim millions of lives, disrupt society, and divided economy, we know that, whose health emergencies program is working with member states to help countries to prepare for large-scale outbreaks and pandemics. That Dr. Babatun Olowokur, said that when outbreaks, conflict, or disaster end your lives anywhere in the Western Pacific region, the WHO Health Emergency Program is ready to respond. I don't believe him, but I have to. So, our conclusion is that we conclusion that the pandemic affect to all of us. But the first problem that we can see, I think, is the politics of Mexico. That the president spent our money as if Mexico was a country powerful, but it's not. There are not enough money for the hospital, and at its first they were not prepared to deal with pandemics. Actually, nobody was. Good infrastructure is the foundation of outbreak management. Without it, early detection of an outbreak is of a little use. However, we could get ahead, helping each other between us. We have to keep calm, care us, love the people around us, and wait the president give us all the necessary resources for care or help post COVID-19. So that's all for our part. Yeah, see you.